Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a little while, but I think it's time to kind of get back on this sucker. So, if you've been watching me on RC Universe or seen some of the comments since my last video, in my last video I was going to put a piece of 440 rod and basically a rigid structure to move our landing gear here for our nose gear steering. What's been recommended to me, it's actually in the instructions. I don't know if the kit actually comes with it or not, but you're supposed to use this flexible push rod here. And I got this just at the local hobby store. It's Great Plains, and all it is a basically a cable inside there that we're going to use. So this has been recommended as being working a little bit better than what I was going to do. And the other nice thing is I don't have to try to clear all of this mechanical stuff here, because we can bend and twist this however we need to. So the very first step, what we need to determine, this will be mounted, it'll be glued right to the duct back down here, and so we need to figure out how far back we need to go with it, because if you can see, right here is where it's going to connect. This is going to be soldered straight to the cable. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, it looks like it. This is going to be soldered directly to the cable. So I'm going to move my landing gear here, and I'm going to turn it all the way to the one direction there, and then this is the maximum throw right there. So you can see I put a little line right there. So this would be the very maximum. So once we've got the line there, pretty much I can take this whole assembly out now, because we know kind of our maximum throw there. So let's go ahead and take that out. Oh, one other thing too. Let's go ahead and close this down. Okay, this landing gear door, I don't care what the instruction says. I don't care what the reasoning is, but this whole offset thing, I'm confident I can get this to work without having to do all this junk. It's making it so that the idea is that when we put the air cylinder in here, it's going to pull this door down and back and straighten it up, but I'm sorry, but no matter how much force we apply to this, it's going to do nothing except for pull this back end out, and it's just not working right. So I'm going to do this on my own. So we're going to take the door off as well, and then I'm going to have to refinish the inside of the door here, because there's going to be glue marks and all that fun stuff. So let's take the door off first. Okay, now for the fun part, I get to crack it off. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, so basically we're probably just going to need to refinish, smooth this out a little bit and repaint. But I might be able to get them right back on there. So anyhow, so that's off, and I'm just going to do it my way, and if it doesn't work, then that'll be a lesson learned to me. But alright, so next we need to get the landing gear out. Oops. So now we're back to nothing but the duct here. I think the way that we're going to do this is, okay, so our line is right there, and so we don't want this tube to go any further than that line, and I'd like it to be a straight shot to the control arm rather than at an angle. I've never used this flexible cable before, but I think you have a little bit more mechanical force if it's going straight on rather than at an angle, because then we run the risk of it bending or flexing a little bit, whereas if it's straight on, it's less likely to do that. So we'll give it a go and see what happens. I think the way that we're going to run this, we'll glue it on right there. We'll kind of tack it where we want it to be, and then I'm going to flex it probably, I haven't decided yet, around like this, around like this. But if I flex it like that, I think I can get a smoother curve for that cable to go around, so it's not quite as tight. You could just run it just like this and not have much of a bend in it at all. But like I said, I want it to be straight, so we have a little bit of mechanical advantage. I was testing it, you know, like twisting it all kinds of stuff like that, and there's still almost no force needed to move that cable. So I don't think there'll be any problems whatsoever. Alright, so let me plan this out a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, so for a little bit clearer explanation of how we're gonna do this, I zoomed out a little bit. So we're gonna be right about there. And looking at it while I was thinking about this, I think we're gonna have it kind of go down and then like this. So rather than being straight on like this, because I want this all to be hidden, I think we're gonna do it like that, and then just put the servo arm on the one side. We're not gonna use this round one. And then that way I can glue to the side of the fuselage on the inside there, and we'll have to put a little block spacer so that it's about the same height as this. But when you have your control arm and everything, there's going to be a little bit of space here that so it'll probably be something like that, and I think that'll work out pretty good. And then that way it'll be glued to the side of the fuselage almost the entire length, so there won't be any flex, and we'll have a real good mechanical advantage there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut our tubing probably right to about here. So I want to make sure to give myself enough, but I don't want too much. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and be right back. Okay, now that I've got it cut, I've got it placed in the fuselage, just kind of to give you an idea of exactly what I was referring to. So we're going to have it be pretty straight there, right to our line that we did at the very first step, and then the tube comes around, comes up, and it'll stop right about there to give us room for the control arm and all that stuff. So having a really awesome day today. I was having a hard time getting the camcorder battery charged up, but it looks like it's alright now. And now I don't have any CA to tack this in, so I guess I could hold it for a while, but I think I want to get some CA. So gonna go to my local hobby store and be back for the next step. Okay, I went ahead and I just held it for 5 minutes with 5 minutes epoxy. I can go back over with like a 15 or 30 minute epoxy around the outside to hold that in, but it's on there pretty good. So the path of our cable will pretty much be right there. See, I lined it up perfectly with our little line that I made, and the cable goes down, and you'll be able to see on the inside of the fuselage I'll be able to pretty much tack it right to the side. It's just hanging in there loose right now. It's going to go down and then up and around. You can see I've got the extra length here because I want to try to keep the curves as smooth as possible, just so the least path of resistance there from the servo. So again, that tube's only going to go probably back to about here, because once you get the servo arm and the clevis and everything on there, it's going to go back to about there. So that's where we're at right now. I just need to make a little block, and then probably going to have to get in there and get kind of dirty to get that all tacked in, but probably not totally necessary. Probably overkill. You probably only need to really tack it here and then probably tack it on this side, but I just don't want there to be any flex in this cable and get a nice connection. So that's what I'm going to do next.